There are over 250 owl species on the entire planet, and I found 5 of the most unique owls in the entire world. Stay tuned, this is about to get insane. It is good to be back home after a couple weeks in California, about 10 days in California. Last couple adventures have been from there. And now we're back home in Cache County, Utah, at one of my favorite spots to be at, Seuss Pond, or the Logan River Wetlands. It has 2 names. I just love it here. I mean, look at the view behind me. Absolutely incredible. Just when we pulled up, we picked up a few cool species, and I'm not sure which ones are new for the year and which ones aren't, so I'm not even gonna try to remember. We did get a canvasback on camera. None of the ducks are gonna be new. I think I have all of these already. Canvasback on camera, joined by some ring-necked ducks in the frame as well as a few bufflehead. So 3 unique species to start off the day here. But let's get into the fun part of today's video. We're talking about 5 owls that I bet you haven't heard of. 5 incredible owls that you probably haven't heard of. Let's start with the first one on my list. And I took notes today, so I don't forget any important information. All right, first owl on the list is called the buff-fronted owl. An absolutely beautiful, stunning looking creature. I picked these out of subjectivity. I just went through all the owl species I possibly could and picked 5 that I thought looked absolutely incredible or had an interesting backstory to them. So the buff-fronted owl can be found in South America, sporadically throughout the continent. It's a really rare species to find, and honestly, we don't know hardly anything about it. Most of what we know about it is from sporadic recordings here and there, but it's not a bird that's been observed a lot by science. The population is unknown. At one point it was on the vulnerable list, but nowadays they have it on least concern. It's kind of crazy in my opinion to put it on the least concern list because we don't actually know how many there are. We don't even have an estimate for that. They think that the population is stable though. It's rare to find, and like I said before, and it's also found in open woodlands or the forest edge. So an absolutely incredible looking owl species. With all of these owl species, let me know in the comments below how many of these species do you know before listening to this video. For me, I think I only recognized 1 out of these 5, so this should be a lot of fun. Let's see what other birds we can find here at Seuss Pond today and move on to number 2 on my list. Just behind me over here are some yellow-headed blackbirds. These are some of the first that I've seen all year long. I think the first I've seen in Cache County this year, so that's pretty cool. An absolutely beautiful, stunning species. And then they were joined by a red-winged blackbird as well, another iconic species. If you haven't seen my red-winged blackbird video that I recently released on Bright Eyed Birding Learn, go check it out. But in that video, I talk about how they can actually hide the red on their shoulders. They puff that red out when they are the dominant male in a territory. So absolutely incredible to pick up those birds. Let's see what other birds we can find. One of the reasons I love Seuss Pond so much is because there's this blind here. It's one of the only blinds that I know of in the state of Utah. I know there's a lot of blinds in places like South Texas and stuff, but we don't really have a lot of these blind type structures built out here in Utah at least. So I absolutely love this. Right now it's the perfect time because I can see over the grass, but then the grass gets really, really tall as the year goes on, especially later in the spring in a couple weeks here. You won't be able to see any of the pond in front of us. But anyways, we have a few more species out here. I picked up a northern shoveler swimming by. That's a really cool duck species to pick up. And then also picked up some gadwall swimming by as well. So 2 more really cool duck species here at Seuss Pond. And then of course picked up your classic American coot to add to the list for the day. So just an incredible list of birds. Again, just good to be home, back at the old stomping grounds or whatever they say. Let's move on to the next owl on the list. All right, pulling out the old notebook here. These aren't really in order. I saved what I think is the best for last, so just understand that, I guess. The next owl on the list is the black and white owl. This is another owl of least concern, meaning that populations are doing pretty good, but we'll talk about that in a minute. You can find this owl in Central and South America, so it's a pretty cool species. You can find it in the rainforests and what they call gallery forest habitat as well. They're nocturnal and they primarily hunt flying prey. So that's really cool. These flying prey are, I believe, primarily insects. The one thing about this bird, it's a beautiful, beautiful species, but it has had a 50% population decline in the last 100 years. So even though we mark some of these birds as least concern, meaning there's plenty of them, Most birds in the least concern category are actually declining very rapidly. They're just declining a lot less than other birds. So that's important to remember as we go about talking about these birds and the ones that are on the least concern list. All right, there's a lot more of Seuss Pond to be seen and more birds to be found. So let's head out there and see what other birds we can find. All right, got the book out again. So we're gonna talk about the third bird, which is a really cool species. All of these are cool. What am I talking about? Next bird on the list is the spot-bellied eagle owl. This is another bird of least concern. Again, least concern does not necessarily mean that the population isn't declining. It just means that it's not, endangered. It's found in India and Southeast Asia. It's a very large eagle. It has the 6th longest body length and the 9th longest wingspan out of the owls. So it's a big owl. Not a lot is known about this owl either. A lot of these owls are really secretive. They live in the deep parts of the rainforest, but it's known to hunt small deer on occasion. So small deer, that's still bigger than, even some of your jackrabbits that are out here in the United States. That's a big prey item. Just a massive owl. These eagle owls get their names a lot of the times because they're so large. They look like eagles. They're so big, but absolutely incredible species. And honestly, they just have such a weird looking vibe to them compared to a lot of the owls. Very unique looking birds on this list today. Did pick up some new birds to add to our list today. Over by the pond over here, we actually saw some cinnamon teal, an amazing species to add to the list for the day. And then also picked up flying above us an American kestrel, really, really awesome falcon species, really, really small falcon species. My first time catching them in flight, I actually thought that it might have been like a Cooper's hawk or a sharp-shinned hawk, but it is indeed an American kestrel. So really good birds to add to the list for the day. Let's continue onward and see what other birds we can find. Also, real quick, everybody, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported the channel this far. I just wanted to mention that I actually started a membership program through Fourth Wall, the website I use for my merch and everything. And I just started a blog over there. Every first week of the month is a free post for anyone who wants to check it out. Those go into more depth of the adventures, and you see a lot of photos and stuff that I don't post over on Instagram, and sometimes birds that I don't even post here on the channel. So definitely go check that out. If you like the blog posts and you want to support the channel, again, these adventures are not super cheap to make. Of course, I do it because I love it, but anybody who joins the membership program, that money will go back into the channel to do bigger adventures. Sometimes I can't always go travel to the really far, really cool places because I don't have the money to do so as a PhD student. So any money that goes into those memberships will come back into the channel. If you'd like to support, you'll get access to 4 blog posts a month. Or if you just want to check out the blog posts, there's one free one every single month. Also, there's additional perks to the membership program as well. So it's not just blog posts, there's other things that you can get on the different tiers, and it's as low as $3 a month, $2.99 to be exact. So again, thank you everybody. Let's get back to the video. Just picked up a really awesome species, iconic species flying over, sandhill cranes. That's a fan favorite for anyone who comes out to the Great Salt Lake Bird Festival every year. People really want to see the cranes, and I don't blame them. They're absolutely incredible to look at. So they were flying right over me. That was really cool to see. And then in one of the agricultural fields adjacent to the preserve here was a killdeer. And I hope it's not nesting in the agricultural field, but a lot of times they will do that, and then they'll get pushed out before they can lay their eggs, or after they lay their eggs when farmers come out to cultivate their fields. So really sad to see that happen, but it does happen quite frequently. Another reason why birds are declining across the United States and the world. Agriculture. We need food. They need places to lay eggs. Often our interests push birds out of their interests. Luckily, preserves like this allow them a space to nest and to have eggs and stuff like that, but we need more of it around the world. Let's get into our next owl species on our list. All right, so next owl on the list for the day is going to be the northern white-faced owl. And this thing looks straight up like it was made up in a fantasy book or something. Its face is so interesting looking. But anyways, this bird was found in and between the Sahara and the equator. So it's across the continent of Africa, which is a huge range, but it's sporadically found in between any of those places. It also has a really cool defense mechanism. It'll flare its wings to appear much larger than it actually is. And a lot of birds do this, but this is one of the examples of that. Also, other animals will do this too, like butterflies. They will have that defense mechanism by flipping over and having eyes on their wings to make them appear more threatening than they are. this owl does that as well. Again, this is another bird of least concern. I believe the only endangered one on our list is the next one that we're going to talk about, the one I'm most excited about. But this owl just looks absolutely insane. The white-faced owl, northern white-faced owl. There's two of these species, but I thought this one looked a lot cooler than the other one. Again, put down in the comments below, have you heard of any of these species of owls? If so, which ones? I'm really curious to know how good your owl knowledge is. There's so many species of owl out there. All right, so picked up much better shots of the yellow-headed blackbird here behind me. One of the most beautiful blackbird species in North America. Definitely rivals the red-winged blackbird, although I think the red-winged blackbird is slightly more the favorite. Let me know in the comments below. But also behind us over here, I also have a new species on the day, great-tailed grackle. So new bird to add to the list in this beautiful environment that we're in. Really happy to pick that bird up. Picked up a fan favorite duck species, the ruddy duck. Absolutely beautiful species with a bright baby blue bill. Very unique color in nature. And it actually smacks its bill on the water to attract a mate. This creates bubbles. It's their little mating ritual. So there was a female and a male. The male is smacking his bill on the water, trying to court the female. Really awesome behavior to see. Really happy I got that on camera. Also, there was a muskrat swimming in the back across the water. Gigantic rodent species with a long rat-like tail. Probably not everyone's cup of tea, but I think all nature is really, really cool. So happy to at least kind of glimpse that on camera as well. There's another half to this that I want to look at real quick just to see if there's any more birds, and then we'll wrap up this video. Number one bird on our list. You've waited long enough. This one is, honestly, I thought it was so cool. When I first saw it, I was like, that definitely has to go in the video. In a lot of ways, it doesn't even look real. It looks kind of like a Muppet. It's an incredible looking owl species, and that's the Serendib scops owl. And I definitely saved the best for last. This was first discovered in 2001 by a Sri Lankan ornithologist named Dipal Warakagoda, which is absolutely incredible. Think about discovering a bird just over like barely 25 years ago. That's insane. Insane, insane, insane. It was finally accepted as a new species just 3 years later in 2004. So it's only been considered a new species for 20 years at this point. Now, to discover a new species of insect and stuff, that's really, really cool and groundbreaking, or discovering a new fossil of dinosaur. But to discover a new bird that we had no idea existed, absolutely insane. That's harder than rediscovering an extinct species, or a species that we thought was extinct these days, because that happens like once or twice a year. You can find it in the southern rainforests of Sri Lanka, and it's strictly nocturnal. It hunts insects. Now here's the really, really sad thing. We just discovered the bird, but there's a reason that it just barely popped up as a species to us, because there's only 80 known to exist in the wild. This is severely endangered and could disappear in the next couple decades if we don't do something about it. Now, step one, figure out the bird exists. And I think that Dipal did an amazing job doing that, of course. But number two, we have to protect and fight for this species to stay with us. Don't forget that I have educational videos on my second channel called Bright-Eyed Birding Learn, where you can learn about this stuff more streamlined without the adventure aspect of things. A lot of you find it fun for me to go out on these adventures, while some of you would just rather listen to me get to the point. Head over to the educational channel Bright-Eyed Birding Learn to learn about this stuff, just fact after fact, with none of this extra stuff in the background. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite owl from this video? And also, is there an owl species you believe deserves to be on this list? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I hope to see you all next time on Bright-Eyed Birding.